Look, they turned that.
I'll be the one starting this meeting. Today's Thursday, February 1st, 2024, and it's now 7 p.m. So I'll do a roll call. First, Commissioner Devaney,
Here.
Commissioner Friedrich,
Here.
Commissioner Havels,
Here.
Commissioner Honig,
Here.
Commissioner Irwin,
Here.
Commissioner Kingsworthy, absent, Commissioner Leash,
Here.
Commissioner Nicholas,
Here.
Commissioner Ortman. Here. We have a quorum. The next item, the agenda, is election of officers. All right, so I will review the election procedures. As you can see on this slide, nominations, they do not require a motion or a second. Any member may nominate another or themselves for the offices of chair and then vice chair. Nomination can be made by a simple declaration, as you can see here in the slide. I nominate Commissioner X for the office of chair or vice chair. We would do the election by an open vote, and we recommend a show of hands in addition to a voice vote to ensure accurate tabulation. Nominees will be voted in the order in which they're nominated, and the first nominee to obtain a majority of votes is elected to the office. So I'll start now with nominations and voting for chair, and then the elected chair will follow up with the nominations and voting for vice chair. So opening the floor now for nominations for the Planning Commission chair.
I nominate Commissioner Honig for chair.
All right. Commissioner Friedrich nominated Commissioner Honig. Are there any other nominations? Once again, are there any other nominations? All right. Since there are no other nominations, nominations are now closed, and we'll move to a vote to elect Commissioner Honig as chair of the Planning Commission. So first, if you vote yes, please raise your hand at this time. All right, and I will just do a roll call. So please say aye or nay. Commissioner Devaney,
Aye.
Commissioner Friedrich,
Aye.
Commissioner Havels,
Aye.
Commissioner Honig,
Aye.
Commissioner Irwin,
Aye.
Commissioner Kingsworthy is absent, Commissioner Leash,
Aye.
Commissioner Nicholas,
Aye.
Commissioner Ortman.
Aye.
All right, congratulations, Commissioner Honig. You were elected as chair of the Planning Commission. So I'll turn over to you for you to conduct the rest of the meeting.
Thank you. Now I will take nominations for vice chair.
I nominate Commissioner Ortman for vice chair.
Any other nominations? If everyone who wants to vote yes would raise their hand for Commissioner Ortman. Thank you. And if you'll take a roll call vote.
Sorry. Commissioner Devaney,
Aye.
Commissioner Friedrich,
Aye.
Commissioner Havels,
Aye.
Commissioner Honig,
Aye.
Commissioner Irwin,
Aye.
Commissioner Kingsworth is absent, Commissioner Leash,
Aye.
Commissioner Nicholas,
Aye.
and Commissioner Ortman.
Aye. Commissioner Ortman has been elected vice chair. And we don't worry about the liaison for the ZBA.
No, that will come later.
So next item on the agenda is approval of the agenda.
Move to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes. Next item on the agenda is approval of the January 4th, 2024 regular meeting minutes.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes. Next item on the agenda is Zoning Board of Appeals report. Commissioner Friedrich?
Madam Chair, we did not meet.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is communications. Ms. Povidaiko?
No, there are no communications received.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is under new business. Recommend a planning commission actually, we have to have public comment first, right? Okay. Next item on the agenda is public comment. If anyone in the public would like to comment at this time. I don't see anyone in person wanting to make a comment. Is there anyone online?
There's no one online?
I will close public comment, and now the next item on the agenda is recommend a planning commission representative to the zoning board of appeals.
I would like to recommend Commissioner Hollis for the zoning board as our representative.
Thank you. Thank you. I'll accept that nomination. Yeah, I appreciate that.
Do you need to have a second, or?
So for this one, you can do similar vote.
Okay. Are there any other nominations for the commission representative to the ZBA? Okay, if, for everyone that plans to vote yes for Commissioner Havels, pardon me, being the planning commission representative to the zoning board of appeals, raise your hand. And will you take a roll call vote?
Yes. Commissioner Devaney,
Aye.
Commissioner Friedrich,
Aye.
Commissioner Havels,
Aye.
Commissioner Honig,
Aye.
Commissioner Irwin,
Aye.
Commissioner Kingsworth is absent, Commissioner Leash,
Aye.
Commissioner Nicholas. Aye. And Commissioner Workman. Aye.
And Commissioner Havels has been voted the commission representative to the zoning board of appeals. So next item on the agenda is the Mission Street corridor plan update.
All right, thank you. So I put some slides together here to go over this, but basically I just wanted to start with the master plan. It's always good. So as you know, we have the second book, Connected Mobility Systems, talking about Mission Street and how we want Mission Street to be a more walkable route, a more safe route for other users of the street. So we do have a concept there for a section and what Mission could look like in the future. And aside from that, it was also in the master plan that we needed to further develop that plan. That was just a concept plan. And so our next step now is to work with MDOT and the DDA on the basically fine tuning the design and see what can work on Mission. So just to show this slide again, I brought this in a work session last year, but as you remember, this is the concept for the south portion of Mission Street, and it's illustrating, the concept did not have dimensional information. However, when putting dimensions based on best practices from different sources, including MDOT's, we can see that we would need around 103 feet for the section to work on Mission. And we had the engineering department do a right-of-way map along the entire road to see if that would be possible. And unfortunately, we have most of Mission being narrower than 100 feet. And then we have some sections that are wider, reaching 150 feet on the south portion, but those are very limited. And so this wouldn't really work, and we need to fine-tune the design while still keeping in mind all the goals that we have laid out in the master plan that were approved based on the general public input. And the other issue here is that there was also somewhat a narrative confusion, I would say. I would say that, you know, when talking about Mission, the goal is to make it a walkable and a safe place. It's not necessarily to, I guess, slow down traffic, you know. I think if we could accomplish the goal of making it safer, the design could have more flexibility, as opposed to focus on making it slower and making it, and reduce the number of cars that are passing by. The problem with reducing traffic count is that then MDOT clarified to us that that would reroute traffic elsewhere, like Isabella Road. And that's not an economic development goal that we ever had with Mission, to, you know, lose the business potential on Mission by losing traffic counts, which it's unfortunate, you know, we're very much car-oriented city, a car-oriented state. And so we can't really run away from that and just make a whole walkable, right, avenue. So it's something that we need to keep in mind. And we had several meetings with MDOT since the master plan was adopted, and we're trying to find the balance. We're trying to find the middle ground. So based on those conversations, one potential solution, and this is not the only alternative that may be out there, is to do something like this. So instead of really limiting left turns in the medium, we could allow Michigan lefts, for example, which would still accomplish the goal to reduce width at intersections for pedestrians to be able to cross better, but it would also allow more turning options for those trying to access businesses. The other option regarding other modes of transportation is to, instead of putting bikes onto the road, we actually create a wider sidewalk that have bikers and pads sharing that space, which is actually a good solution in places that we have a lot of traffic. So that concept was shared in meetings with AMDOT, and they will be coming to the City Planning Commission and the DDA in that joint meeting that we're gonna have in March. And I sent a calendar invite to all of you, so you don't miss it. It's gonna be at 5:30 right before the Planning Commission meeting, regular meeting. And the main focus on that conversation is going to be on MDOT's announcement of their that data that they collected last year on traffic counts and turning patterns. With that new data, we're going to just have the more accurate information to design alternatives. And so we felt that that aspect of the proposal, because MDOT is moving forward with new data analysis, we shouldn't wait too long to hire a consultant to work on those alternatives and engage with the public again. The other thing is that there is a redevelopment ready community technical assistance match funding available for us that we're going to lose if we don't apply for it by March 11th. Actually, we need to get the funding by March 11th. So we're really running against time here. We can have up to $50,000 from MEDC with a 75-25% match. And I'll be meeting with the DDA on February 8th to ask if they would be willing to put that 25% match onto the study. And this is something that was flagged in previous capital improvement plans, but we didn't pursue that back in 2022 because of MDOT not yet being ready to collect data. But now, because of that change and because of the funding, we already released a request for qualifications, and we're going to be opening bids next Tuesday to see what we got and then select a consultant to move forward with the grant and the proposal. So that's going to be a lot of work for us. And I just wanted to make sure that you understood where we are right now. And obviously, we're going to have more opportunities to discuss design, to discuss goals and everything. And I expect that the consultant will be facilitating many conversations with this commission and others in the city moving forward within the next year. If you have any questions, feel free to
Thank
ask
you.
me.
Does anyone have any questions?
I'll just a little one. What kind of sense do you get about MDOT, because Mission Street is the connector between M20 and US 127. The state has no interest in slowing traffic down or reducing traffic counts.
Yes.
So I don't know, is the state looking to redo Mission Street, or is this something that the city wants to happen?
No, so the city certainly wants it to happen. MDOT does not have funds available right now, so it's not, again, the same situation that we had in 2008, that we actually had MDOT with funds ready to be spent. This time around, we're trying to further the planning so we can, one, be ready when they have funds, and two, try to apply for grants. So there's a lot of federal dollars onto improvements that add safety onto roads. There is the Safe Streets for All grant. There is another one called RAISE, if I remember correctly. So we want to get the design ready so we can apply. But in terms of the speed that you talked about, that's why we need to find alternatives. Because in the end of the day, MDOT has to buy into the plan. So I think our master plan item there that says slow traffic may not be a goal that we can achieve, but we can achieve the overall overarching goal of making it safer. So MDOT leadership changed quite a bit since the last time that they worked with us on this, and the leadership right now understands the goal of adding pedestrian and bike safety or options, I guess, in corridors like this, and they are working with us on a plan that would work in that regard.
Okay, I'm a little unclear on the grant stuff. Wouldn't that grant money go to the state for a state road?
Yes, yes. So the state and the city would need to be partners into the grant applications. And I believe that as S4A, I joined a training session this week, and my understanding is that the city will be able to apply, but we need to have a solid or an agreement from the state to apply for that. The other one, I'm still getting information to know if we can be the applicant, but MDOT is, already looking for other grant sources, and they can share much more about funding within the state that they have access to in the meeting that we're going to have.
I mean, I'm not sure exactly what's in the master plan, but there may be things in the master plan that the state will not do. I don't know what that does to our master plan, but maybe that's something we need to
Yes, so that's
be prepared for.
a very technical thing to mention is the master plan. The goal is to create a Mission Street corridor plan as an update to the master plan. So whatever we have in the master plan that we cannot accomplish, like let's say we need to remove that bullet point on reduce average speed of traffic in case MDOT tells us there is no way we can do this. And so we can't just erase that, right? We need to speak with the public. And that's the main goal of this, is to do an update, but also at the same time create a design that can be implementable, is more implementable, so we can move forward and we're not stuck with the status quo.
Any other questions? Next item on the agenda is Community Improvement Award nominees.
All right, so the Community Improvement Award. As you know, we've been doing this since 1979. Maybe some of you were here at that time. But it's really a way for the Planning Commission to thank the community for investing in our community and making our neighborhoods look better. So the Building Safety Department is actually the department that does the background research on this. So they basically create, in BSNA, they create a report, and then they check, what was the scope of each building permit that was issued and completed in 2000, and in this case, 2023. And then they select the ones that had, bigger amounts being spent and that the scope of work does something to the street. So with that, we present all of you the different nominees, and then we ask that you choose one awardee winner for each one of the categories. So this year, we did not have a mixed-use building that was completed, so we just have two categories, residential and commercial. And I'm trying something different with you. Instead of creating an online survey, I decided to just go simple and put the nominees on your dais here, and you can fill it up anytime. And then if you want to do it today, you can just put it here next to me, and then I'll collect that, and we will announce the winners at the City Commission meeting.
Any questions? Thank you.
And sorry, this is the sheet that you can see in front of you. I just put here for the public to see it too.
Thank you. And next item on the agenda is discuss and consider an extension of SUP 2301 and SPR 2302, 1012 North Lansing.
All right, so in February 2nd last year, the Planning Commission approved SUP 2301 and SPR 2302 at 1012 North Lansing for an adult use marijuana grower and retailer, subject to conditions at the time. And when you combine grower and retailer facilities, there are more rules that the state has for that combination, which include more items that they have to meet with the air handling system. And so the applicant approached us and saying that they need a little bit more time because they're working with their engineered company that was doing all of that work. And they didn't move far enough for the site plan to not expire. So today is the last day. So we are, the applicant is requesting a 1-year extension from the Planning Commission so they can put the building permits in and then work towards completion for this project. And there were no proposed changes from the approved site plan, and there were no changes to the zoning ordinance as it relates to special use permits in the standards that we have for those. And so I don't see any issue with approving the extension.
Any questions?
And the applicant is here too, if anyone needs to ask any questions.
Does anyone need to ask the applicant any questions?
No.
Would anyone like to make a motion?
Sure, I'll move to extend SUP 2301 and SPR 2302 for 1 more year.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes. Next item on the agenda is staff report.
I thought I had put a slide here, sorry. Okay. Guess I didn't. So the staff report is that staff has reviewed and approved SPR-24-01 for 315 West Locust Street. The owner, David Cantrell, was applying for adding a covered porch and an extended deck at the back of the property. The scope of work was very limited, but still required a site plan review from us because it's a 3-unit apartment building.
Thank you. Any questions? And would anyone like to move to adjourn to work session?
Move to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Meeting adjourned. Does anyone need a break before the work session? Okay.
Pretty strenuous.
Calling to order the February 1st, 2024 work session.
All right, thank you. So today we're going to talk about the work plan, and it's going to be slightly different than it has been from my understanding. There are many reasons for that, but I mentioned already the work on Mission Street, which is going to obviously take a lot of our time, considering that we also want to have a good public outreach and potentially have a steering committee, which will involve some of you. And the other item is that there was a planning grant that MISHDA released called Housing Readiness Incentive Grant Program, which I applied for. RC called me and they said, with everything that you want to do for housing, I think Mount Pleasant has a chance for getting that planning grant. And so that would basically put the housing items that we had previously laid out in the 2023 and 2024 work plan last year, pushed a little bit forward to 2025 until 2027. So the planning grant will allow us 2 years to complete the housing work that we want to do with any text amendments, map amendments that we want to look at, and so forth. So I did some reprioritizing. Some of those housing-related items are postponed. Anything related to commercial development in Mission Street, I was reprioritizing for this year, so I still want to do one large text amendment this year that will include several of our discussions from last year. So the rules that regulate CD5, CD4, as it relates to just adding a little bit more wiggle room for developers to do new construction or enlargements of existing buildings, some flexibility for nonconformities as well, that kind of item. So I would be developing that. I would like to get that out Q2, Q3 this year to you. And then we can end the year with those text amendments approved, as well as the Mission Street redesign work, far ahead by the end of the year. So that's what I wanted to come across with the memo, and you can see, these charts that are colorful like that. It's basically an update of all the topics that we had approved for 2023, 2024, and the status of those. I talked about the grants, and in this slide you can see what I'm proposing for 2024, broken down by month, just so you have an understanding of what's next. And at this time, I really welcome questions, and if you have any new items that you want to add, if you have changes that you want to make to this draft schedule, just let me know.
Any questions or suggestions?
The one thing that I'd like added as a topic to work sessions goes back to Michigan Planner magazine that all as planning commissioners get. The November, December issue is really geared towards all of us on planning commission. This is official issue. And with that, I found it useful as kind of a periodic, not really reminder, but more a guideline of thinking about best practices. And there's not any urgency with discussing that per se. It's just, I think it's good for any sort of board or commission to look even once every, couple of years at what are some of the best practices that we're not reinventing the wheel as a commission, regardless of it's a planning commission or if you're serving on, you serve on civic boards as well. It's the same kind of thing to take a look at. And so in particular, I was drawn towards, where are we here? Pages 12 and 13 on meeting how-tos, tips and hints. And they had some great ideas from some other planning commissions elsewhere in the state of Michigan. Same planning and zoning, enabling acts and other things. Because over time, I think we've all sat here and observed human behavior and said, well, or just thought to ourselves, is there a way that there's communication breakdowns separate from the communication breakdown that people have if there's misunderstandings about a proposal that's being discussed at the dais, but communication breakdowns as far as, what could audience members expect out of what we do? I know sometimes there's cases where people go to the dais and expect us to answer their questions. That's addressed in here. And if you happen to, read that in November, December, and realistically, it's kind of a weird communication style because we're not supposed to respond to them. We're just taking testimony directed at, to the chairperson of the planning commission, in one sense they're looking around and speaking to all of us. It's probably good to have a work session to, think about some of these processes and see if there's cases where we might want something codified in here's a, like a guideline or management plan, or even I see when it says public input rules, they have an inset box. The two different planning commissions in Michigan as kind of exemplars that these private sector planners had said, this is a way that we can, communicate more effectively with the general public. So one is public input rules. So when you got the agenda sitting over there, it just basically explains, here's how you can, we want your input in democracy, we need everybody's input. Here's a straightforward and standardized way you can get that. You know how to approach the input, where to go to say over there, to say your name, home address, which we've gotten away from doing in recent years. And saying, hey, you got 5 minutes, you can't, we're not here to debate with anyone regardless of the thing, we're just here to hear public testimony during that public comment period. Something like that could be really illuminating because we can't blame members of the public for not knowing, when to speak up and things like that. A work session that wouldn't take too long that could piggyback upon one of these pre-existing things in the work plan might be able to provide some guidance for, citizens of Mount Pleasant and stakeholders who might not live in Mount Pleasant, but they're stakeholders of the city through their investments and other things. And make sure that some of those things are standardized that way. And so there'd be more things I think would come up if we looked at a work session really with the questions of what's worked well, are there cases you can find where things haven't worked so well, and then how could that process go more smoothly within the frameworks we have to use as planning commissioners. So I think that would be the goal of a work session that would be tacked on to this 2024 work plan, and I don't see it taking a full hour, but it would be good just to kind of go around the room and see if there are ways that we're communicating effectively as we can, given the parameters of how the public testimony comes to us and what we can and can't do with it at that time. I think it'll give us more public trust in how we make our decisions when they see, this is, yeah, we just can't go and say, you know, like we're clapping along and agree with these things, you know, that we have certain expectations based on the expectations that the state has for planning commissioners.
No, I think that's a great idea, especially with some of the topics we've had that have been fairly contentious, and we haven't known how to really respond in the moment, you know, so thinking these things ahead of time would probably actually benefit all of us.
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds great. Is there a particular timing for it? And I'll just highlight that, one, I'm not sure exactly what would be the precise timeline of the consultant work and when they're going to start outreach, but I did put a draft timeline in the RFQ, which would basically kick off public outreach right away. I don't want to lose time, so it would be spring. And so I imagine that with what Matt is sharing, Commissioner Leash is sharing, we would need to probably do this before we start those conversations, right? Just to make sure that we all know, in case we get more members of the public to come here in those Mission Street conversations. Would that be a goal? Maybe around April, May or so?
I'm good with that.
Yeah, okay.
Any other suggestions? So you just need us to approve the work plan?
Yeah, that would be great, so I don't have to come back with the item. So approve the plan with the addition.
If anyone would like to make a motion?
I'll motion that we approve the proposed 2024 work plan.
Second.
Any discussion?
Just a clarification with the addition.
Oh, okay, I was just reading off the yes with the addition.
Okay,
I'll also second the addition.
thank you.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes. And that's our only agenda item.
Yes, that's it.
If anyone would like to move to adjourn,
I'll move to adjourn.
Second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Meeting adjourned.